I can settle down and be doing just fine till I hear an old freight rolling down the
Right
line.
on, Matt.
Scott, it's been a long time.
The microphone's are on. Yes, it has been a long time. How are you?
Good. I was actually having a shower thinking about you this morning.
Oh, God, there we go. I
Too
didn't
much
know this
information.
podcast was going to go in this direction.
Too much for me.
Yeah, I was thinking, I remember the first time I met Scott. I was down at the Birregurra Festival.
That's right.
And you were just kicking off
Valhalla.
with Valhalla.
Yep, that's
and
right.
I walked past and I went, his logo looks almost the same as mine, the bastard.
yes.
I better go have a chat.
Yeah,
And,
which is a skull with horns.
I spent the rest of the day drinking beers in your
That's
little
right.
tent there with you and Liam.
Absolutely.
May his soul rest in peace.
Exactly,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And then it kind of went on from there. You had that place in Geelong West on the corner of Autumn. No,
Yeah, well, it started here in
Patagonia.
Torquay, actually.
Yep.
Well, we started in WA, but then we
Yep.
moved back. We had a little shop front in Pearl Street,
Yep,
over
that's
there.
right, yep.
It was only 3 or 4 months, just a pop up, and then that went well, and we thought, well, let's try Geelong West, and so went from strength to strength there, and
Yep.
we stayed in touch.
Yeah, so you had the motorbike shop. Nevermind Cycles. Is that what the official name was?
We just always just called it Nevermind Adventure, and then you can sort of take it where you want from there. It's always been a pretty loose sort of business, and you see. You throw shit at the wall and see what sticks, But it's always been the tourism, the motorcycle travel has always been the big thing for us.
You had a car park out the back, and so we did some pop up bars there.
Yeah.
3 months in a row or something. I think we did 3 different pop ups. So that was a bit of fun.
That was great fun having a bar in your car park.
Yeah. And then it kind of just continued from there. But we definitely saw a lot of correlation between what we're trying to do brand wise, at least. Anyway.
It was good. It was great to watch you guys come and go, and I came and went. We'll probably talk a bit more about that.
Yeah, well, we do. We have a bit of
podcast,
common history.
I think we sort of went from strength to strength. Went from a little shop here in Torquay to a small shop in Geelong West to a very big shop, 400 square metre Royal Enfield showroom in the other end of Geelong West there.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then COVID hit, so it's slowed us down. But and you sort of weren't far behind us.
Yeah. We did. That sounds like a very similar story. Yeah. We started off here in Torquay. We'd never found a shop in Torquay. We wanted to, but then we opened a little bar in Geelong, and then did the big thing in North Geelong, and that kind of killed us. Similar story, but. So I'm really keen to get. We ran into each other actually about 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Not even, 2 weeks.
2 weeks ago at the German restaurant.
Das Beer House.
Yeah, Das Beer House.
My favourite bar in Geelong at the moment.
I've been hearing good things. I've never been in there. Of course, I do love a German beer. And
it's a good pub.
Brilliant.
It's a good pub.
So I popped in with our mate DJ Dredd to have a couple of pints.
Oh, that's where you bumped into it. Yeah, okay.
So I thought, shit, better get Matt on the podcast.
And we've got a mate who lives just around the corner from there, who's a regular. Alan Barton.
Yes,
he's almost next door to that. And he loves it.
Yeah.
He lives just around the corner.
Yeah, it's
Friday regular.
Mirabel Street, just up from the Cat Stadium.
It is. Yeah, it's a really good spot. It's a big shout out to that place. So
I've got a mate who's married to an Austrian woman, and they love it. They spend a bit of time there. They often have their family gatherings there, their Christmas Eve things there, things like that. So it's got that nice Germanic.
It's good value too. The huge meals. And the service is fantastic.
The service is good.
So I keep going back.
There's a couple of kids. I call them kids. They're young. Young women behind the bar. Oh Jesus, they're unbelievable. They're very good.
Yeah.
They really know their shit. They're very, very good. Never an empty glass. So
it was pretty impressive. The service there. I thought it was good.
Which is for me. It's important as anything. When you're out.
Yep.
The service is the thing that's different, because you can do whatever you want at home and please yourself. But when you're out and somebody's serving you, it's got to be right, That for me, that's the point of difference when you're out somewhere. The service has got to be good. And I really dislike poor service because I don't think there's any excuse for it. So, you find a place with good service, you go back, don't you?
Absolutely. Cool. Well, we have established that we've got a little bit of a similar kind of background in business. But where are you at now? How's your thing? So you're still doing the adventures, still doing the travel? Just
the motorcycle travel. Well, it's sort of again evolved a little bit, but it's sort of so COVID hit 2020. So we were Scream at a motorcycle dealership. We're the biggest selling Royal Enfield dealer, so the brand that we use on all our bike tours, and the biggest one in the country at the time. So moving a lot of units for a sort of fairly new, old brand, but new to Australia.
Yeah.
And it was because we had that relationship through the bike tours, and we tested the product, and so a lot of people do a trip with us through the Himalayas on a Royal Enfield motorcycle and come back and buy one and go these things, and it still happens, But that's a very capital intensive business, a motorcycle shop, and capital was what I didn't have a lot of at the time, and so I shoestrung it, and as you would have done with the brewery, Scotty. So you do the best you can, and borrowed a bit here and there, and then COVID hit, couldn't travel, and that was the bulk of my cash flow was travel. Bikes. There's not much margin in that. So it's a slow burn. People buy a bike, bring it in for service, tyres. So one thing led to another, and I ended up separated, and it was just all getting a bit much for me. By 2021, I'd pulled the trigger and liquidated. Luckily, at the time, I didn't know, and I just said to all of my customers, I had a lot of bookings that I couldn't operate, and I just said to everyone, look, just let's see what happens. I'll go back to work for a bit, and then once the world opens up, I'll honour everything everyone's paid. And I didn't know what was going to happen, but it was the best I could do. There was obviously no money, otherwise I wouldn't have pulled the trigger, as you know. And I actually brought in a business partner, an old mate from primary school, with the intention of keeping everything running and putting everything in his name and blah, 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 blah. He turned out to be a prick, stitched me up, took the motorbike shop, but the travel side of it, he didn't understand the value in that, so it just got left. And so anyway, a month later, I think by Easter, sort of February, March 2021, I was living in a tent up on the Murray River picking oranges, just trying to make the best of it, and it's probably the best that, I don't want to do it again. It's picking oranges in 44 degree heat isn't a lot of fun. And then, I had no money. I was literally, drinking Aldi cask wine and, a packet of sausages and some bread, and that'd get me through the week. But, in hindsight, happy days. And the sunshine, fresh air. I was on my own. There was no one around. I was on a massive farm. I was the only picker.
Where were you, Matt?
I was in a place called Boundary Bend. It's about 80 k's north of Swan Hill.
Yeah, I know it well. I lived in Mildura for a few years. I drove through Boundary Bend on a regular basis. It's a beautiful part of the world.
So beautiful.
Lovely bend of the river there. Beautiful bend on the Murray River.
Some of the nights I'd have a fire going. Gorgeous. Just literally living in a tent.
There's a little store there, or used to be a little store in Boundary Bend, not much else.
Yep, in the caravan park.
Caravan park. Do
you think it's a great teacher, isn't it? It's a great learning curve when you go through an experience like that. I think it's a great teacher of humility, I think, to go from when you probably, I'm talking from my own experience, you see yourself as a business person around town, one that people see as probably successful, whether or not that they don't necessarily see under the under the counter or behind the closed doors or whatever, but and then all of a sudden it all goes away, and you have to start from scratch, and you're living in a tent picking oranges, but you also can appreciate the beauty of that as well, can't you? And then you go, you start to reevaluate what's important in your life. Yeah. Would you say that was sort of what happened in that period?
I will say, and I think you hit the nail on the head. I think your identity becomes very tied up with your business when you're that busy, and you're in a very public business, like the brewery would have been. Valhalla was. Nevermind was in Geelong. Everywhere I went, you'd bump into someone, a customer, or everyone knew who you were. And it was like so. All of a sudden, everyone knew who you were for the wrong reasons. You think that, To be honest, like it was a very small minority. Most people were very supportive. But that was hard to deal with. I think there might have been, looking in hindsight, maybe some depression at the time. I wasn't myself, and I don't know how you felt at the time. That's when I bumped into you the other night. I was rapt to see you, because I know what you would have went through, and I know how tough it is to go through closing down a business, and it's a dream, it's a dream that's just gone up in a puff of smoke. It was very challenging. I probably had a good 12 months of soul searching, and the being up on the river was a really in hindsight, again, at the time I didn't appreciate it. I didn't want to be there. It was just paying the bills. But it was a pretty spiritual experience, you know, just being up there on the ladders, 14-foot ladder, and bags of oranges, sacks of oranges, and headphones on, a bit of Hilltop Hoods cranking, and you know, you're the only one in sight.
Those big curvy ladders that curl over the tree,
the big aluminium ones,
and that huge bag. What weight of oranges do you pick into that bag? Do you remember?
Wow, I reckon. Oh shit, it'd have to be 15, 20 kilos.
Shit, they're big bags. I know when I see them coming down, that's a big job on your back.
The heat gets you too. I can remember some nights, and I wasn't super fit at the time because I've been working in a motorbike shop for a while. But just the cramps. Like you get down, you get back, and you have a beer, and as soon as you stop, just everything would start cramping up. And like I was mid-40s then, you know. So you know, it's like it was
hard work and piecework. Like you don't pick them, you don't get paid. So you got to get them off.
It's not a good way to make money, but it you know it helped for it. It was only probably 2 or 3 months I was up there. And then I managed to score a job back in construction here in Geelong. I've got a background in environmental engineering, and an old colleague rang me up and said, "What are you doing? You know, it's picking oranges." Oh, we've just won a job down on Bowen Heads Road here, so I ended up getting a relatively well-paid job close to home, and from there it was just up and up. You know, I put a lot of money away. You know, a lot of people would have heard this story. It's on my website and in these brochures and that we send out. It's I just happened to be working with a Sri Lankan kid, student engineer, and his parents owned a hotel in Sri Lanka, and they were going through a tough time. And it's probably 2022, and he was probably 23, 24 years old. Sammy, shout out to Sammy, and we become good mates. And I said to him, "I can probably help you out." I said, "You know, I'll just put something on Facebook, email my old clients. We'll probably bring a group over and stay at your hotel. I'll see if I can get some bikes." And by February 2023, I'd rang up all my old clients and ones that had paid already, and I was able to offer. So look, you know, I know it's not where you booked to go, but I'll just give you a free trip to Sri Lanka. You beauty. So
good on you. That's really
so
good.
I've been able to sort of trickle through old clients that paid during COVID. You know, obviously I didn't see that cash, but and the amazing thing is, and now I'm back doing it full time, is your reputation is better than what it was before, because it's better.
Even better.
Because they're like, well, Matt honoured all this. You don't legally have to. There's no moral obligation to it. It was just because, well, you know, it felt like the right thing to do. So some of those customers, Robin and Roger from Manchester, UK, have done 3 or 4 tours with me before COVID, and they paid 10 or 12 grand to do Patagonia with me in 2020, and we couldn't go. And I hit them up, and they came to Sri Lanka on that first trip. And the next tour, they booked Patagonia with 10 of their mates.
Wow.
At 14 grand a pop. You know, and paid up front. You know, it's like, you did the right thing, boys. You know?
Isn't that great?
We trust you.
And they've also just done Sri Lanka this year, that whole same group of mates, and they're doing Everest with me next year. So
what an incredible lesson that is.
I know,
about just,
right?
You know, karma.
I couldn't see it coming.
You know, being the right person. You know, being the right person and doing the right thing absolutely is always the right thing to do.
Absolutely.
It comes back.
And obviously a great adventure that they love. Obviously you've got a great product, you've got a great business that they love, and they recognise that as well. So
yeah, it seems to be working. So, and, you know, I think as the world goes more and more online and indoors and, you know, AI, these types of experiences that we offer, these packages of, you know, 10, 12 mates on motorbikes on the other side of the world, riding together, having a good time, become more and more important.
Absolutely. You know? AI can't run a tour to Patagonia, can they? A motorbike tour to Patagonia.
It's not as easy as it sounds. It's,
we're a fair way off before the robots can do that, thankfully.
There's a lot more. It's the social interaction's a big thing, but a lot of our, you know, I was speaking to someone today, and I said, what's your demographic on your bike tours? And we do get a few of the younger guys in their 20s and 30s, but it's usually they're coming with the old man or something like that. But the bell curve starts at about 40s and goes up, you know, sort of mid 50s, you know, it sort of peaks at 60, 65 year olds, and male and female, and then comes, you know, it gets lower, guys get into their 70s. And, you know, it's this, that age group, I feel, particularly as you know, your kids get older, your 40s, 50s, you know, Scotty, like you your social life's very different. You know, we might have lost touch with our mates. We're hanging out with the kids' kids' mates, parents, and that sort of stuff. And then all of a sudden, that's all gone. And I find a lot of men in particular lose their social life a bit, and can fall into a bit of a rut. So the bike tours are great. People are connecting. They're bikers. They've already got that in common, and then they've got this shared experience, and they go away, and then they book their next trip together. And I see them all on social media hooking up for rides, and in their WhatsApp groups and stuff, having a chat. It's fantastic. So,
cool. So Matt, can you just talk us through what I'd get if I went on one of those tours? What do you do, and what do the customers get? What do they have to do? What are the bits? What are the parts of the?
Yeah, so it's essentially a package. It's all inclusive other than flight. So most of our rides are 2 weeks. So say you want to go to Sri Lanka, February next year. Our dates are set for 2nd of Feb to the 16th of Feb.
Yep.
So basically everything in those dates: bike, fuel, accommodation. We have a support van that carries all your luggage, mechanic.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
I run all my own tours as well, so I know these places incredibly well now.
So all the land content stuff is completely managed and provided. They give you the money and you do the lot. They just get there.
That tour is say $8,000, and I'm talking now. I'm getting a bit older than I used to be. The accommodation's got to be good. Like,
more comfort now.
The places we stay are a real highlight now on all of our trips. Like it's the best you can get in the areas that we travel.
Yeah, fantastic.
I like to be comfortable after a day on the road. 10 years ago it was different. We keep the cost down and stay in the cheaper hotel across the road. But now it's staying in the good place across the road.
So meals,
all the meals,
the whole lot, everything.
And we don't skimp on anything. Again, same with the food. You're there. Like Sri Lanka, there's a lot of seafood and it's incredible. It's fresh. So we know the places. We go there all the time. So we found the such and such seafood restaurant. There's the Banyan Tree in Tangal. We've been going there for years. One of my favourites. We know the owners. We get in, they just turn it on.
Now, wouldn't you?
The only thing, you pay for your own booze and drinks. But that works really well because the owners will throw it on for us and really turn on the food, and throw everything at it. But we'll all drink heaps of beers.
People are not going to worry about paying for a few beers.
That's right. So the local businesses do really well out of it. They love it, particularly at the moment because people have travel slowed down and we haven't. We're still going everywhere. So when we roll in, these local hotels are so grateful. So
mate, you're going to provide the bikes and fuel and all that sort of stuff for a group. How big are these groups? What, 10, 20 people?
10 bikes generally.
10 bikes.
Yeah, sometimes there's 8, sometimes there's 12, but 10's our magic number.
Where are the bikes?
So we keep them in each location. So,
you've got the bikes in those locations where you're going.
So in Sri Lanka, we've got bikes sitting there.
Right.
So we'll have a local partner that we work with that maintains the bikes, and we work together with them.
So you must have a limited number of locations that you can do this thing.
Yeah. So
where the bikes are.
I only have 6 locations. So Vietnam, Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka's probably up there with our most popular.
It's getting a popular tourist travel point, I know. Sri Lanka. We've got friends there at the moment.
It's incredible. It's going to be the next Thailand. It's a place I'm really looking at maybe moving to and investing in a bit more because it's I love it. Patagonia, which is Chile and Argentina, that's the next big one. Like Sri Lanka's sort of now becoming a bit more, people are, your package tripper deals and that are starting to go
mainstream.
there.
Not quite, but
Patagonia is largely undiscovered. People don't know where it is, what it's all about. So watch that space. That's incredible. No one around. Like we ride places. We don't see anyone for days. We have to carry fuel with us and everything. It's like outback Australia, but the Himalayan mountains in the background. Most pristine lakes you've ever seen, glaciers. So it's and the food. It's the Argentinians. No one does.
They like their meat, don't they?
God,
they love their meat.
My mouth's watering. Just
I know. Yeah,
but we do a lot in India. So Rajasthan, northwest India, and the Himalayas, Nepal. We're going to Everest Base Camp in Tibet next year.
Okay.
We do Ireland. That's my next one. We do a trip the whole coastline of Ireland, which is incredible.
Ringakerry, all that.
Ringakerry, and I mean that's a famous one, but there's far better even than the Ringakerry for bike riding. So it's
Dingle's pretty good.
I call Ireland the next Bali.
Oh right.
Every time we go in the second half of May, and we've had incredible weather. We've been at the beach, swim. I got sunburnt last year.
Really?
I didn't take any. I didn't take any sun cream. I'm at the beach, swimming, and didn't even think of it. Laid in the sun too long. And
our daughter married an Irishman a couple of years ago in Ireland, and it was 29 degrees.
Oh.
They were dropping like flies. That was seriously hot.
Last year, yeah?
No, 2 years ago.
Yeah, 2 years ago.
I think it was 2 years ago. It was really hot. Yeah,
that was late May.
Incredibly hot. Yeah, you should have seen them.
It was the hottest they've had on record. Yeah,
pretty unusual though.
But it feels like 29 to us is nothing.
Yeah,
but they're 29, and I'm there. It feels a lot hotter.
Yeah. It's like London. Same thing. If you're in London and it's like 25 degrees, it's bloody like 40 here. Yeah, different heat. But Oh, so is that it? And Ireland, is that the total locations? And you got bikes and all those.
So I think that's all of them. And we've just announced Poland.
You mentioned with your Polish family now.
Yeah, I've got some Polish heritage. That's not why. It's just I typically like to like to add a new destination every 3 or 4 years, just to keep it fresh for us even. And we've got a lot of customers that have done all our trips, and some of them multiple times. So they're like, oh, what's the next one? I've been researching Poland a lot over my lifetime. I've been there, sort of just through my own family ancestry, and but it turns out there's actually some incredible motorcycling there, and I just put the feelers out. I've made some good Polish biker mates over there online, and we got talking, and one thing's led to another, and we thought, let's pull the trigger. And so this week we announced it, and it's just gone live on our website today. So that's second half of September this year. Fantastic. We're going to head over there.
And are they all about 2 weeks, did you say?
Yeah, 2 weeks.
They're 2 weeks?
2 weeks are good, yeah.
So I guess the number of Ks you do will depend on the country you're in.
But
do you spend much time on the bike?
Yeah, again, depends on the ride. So, like, Patagonia is a real rider's ride. So, it's about the ride, seeing the landscape. And we will ride most of, we stop a lot, resting. It's not, you don't have to be a biker. Like, we try to make it accessible to anyone. Like, if you said to me, look, I've never ridden a bike, but I'm going to go get my license, I'd say, well, book Sri Lanka for 6 months' time, and that'd be a good one to start with. Ride, shorter days, no dirt, that sort of thing. And then work your way up, and when we get a lot of that. We love, and they're probably my faivourite. It's really rewarding to see that, because again, motorcycling, it's been a huge part of my life since I was 8 or 9 years old, and it's I can remember when my old man put me on a bike, a piece of shit, like basically a lawnmower, 2 wheels down at Warm Ponds Creek down the road here, and I just couldn't put a smile on my face straight away, and it's like it's just. You get hooked on it, like surfing, like anything, home brewing, and then fast forward 30, 40 years, and I'm doing it for a living.
So one last question for me on the tourist stuff in particular. So are they all Royal Enfield bikes that you use?
We try to keep it to the Royal Enfields. That's a brand I'm very passionate about. Loved. I've had the bike dealership. It's part of my
and road bikes.
History.
We're talking
what we call adventure bikes.
Right.
So they do have road bikes, and we use them in Ireland as well. So they've got a mixed model. So they're what we call mid-capacity bikes. So they have from 350s to 650s at the moment. I think they're bringing in some larger stuff. So the great thing about that is in Australia they're all learner approved.
Yeah, so I was just going to say you've got new riders coming along. They could ride those bikes without a problem.
Easy to ride. They're super reliable. They look cool. Like Patagonia, we use a model called the Himalayan 450, which is great for the dirt roads. It's just a good all rounder. You can put a passenger on the back, plenty of grunt. Like I said, in Ireland we use a 650 twin cylinder they bought out, which is more of a road bike. We don't ride any dirt in Ireland. It's all real tight, twisty coastal roads.
Lanes.
Sri Lanka's a bit of everything. We use a few mixed models there. So,
and I guess you can. Are you able to repair? You're not
we
a
have a mechanic with us on every trip.
You have a mechanic.
I haven't got time. Typically the way we roll is I'll ride up front. A lot of these rides I've mapped out myself, so them very intimately. I've done them, like Sri Lanka, for instance. I've just come back and I've done 2 whole laps of Sri Lanka while I was over there. I'll be up front, just
leading the group.
I wouldn't say leading, guiding. And then I'll have my mechanic sweep. We call them sweep rider at the back, and we might spread out over 5 or 10 kilometres. Everyone rides at their own pace. So I might open it up and spread everyone out. And we've got the rider at the back, and then we've got the van behind him carrying all the luggage with the spare. So if you get a flat tyre, you just stop.
Easy.
Wakar, my mechanic, will just pull up, rip the wheel off the van, swap them over. 10 minutes later, you're on the road.
Right.
So we can see a hell of a lot in 2 weeks. Which if you went on your own on a bike, you're taking your wheel off, you're hitching to the nearest town, you got to get it fixed, go back. Like there's a day gone. So it's great like that.
Sounds like a nice easy holiday for somebody who was who wanted to chill out.
It's not a holiday, it's an adventure.
Well, an adventure. Well, it doesn't. You sounded like it sounded like a bloody 5-star holiday. I got to say, it looks pretty crazy
compared to what we used to do. But again, look, what it's about is putting it all, putting 3 months worth of travel into 2 weeks. So we haven't all got time to go like we did when we were in our 20s and backpack around for 3 to 6 months and discover it all ourselves. At our age, you got a bit of coin, you got a bit more time, but you haven't got 3 to 6 months,
and you want that bit more comfort.
It's like we've all got our skills and talents. And
I imagine it's a great way to see the countryside. Obviously, that you're not going to see on a bus tour or a cruise or whatever. But I imagine because you do know the locals pretty well, you're stopping in a lot of places. The people who are coming on the tours are getting to learn a bit more about the culture than you would on a bigger kind of tiki style tour or whatever, you know what I mean? Because you're really getting. Definitely. I imagine you're stopping at smaller villages.
Always. There's being on a motorbike is the best way to travel. And you hit the nail on the head there. It's being on a coach, you're isolated from it. You got steel and glass between you and everything. There's none of that. Here you're right. You're in control of your own life in your own hands here. We do certainly stop every half an hour, every 40 minutes for a cup of tea at a little tea stall on the side of the road or a juice stall and be a lady cracking coconuts open with her machete and that sort of thing. So it's super cool like that. Again, also the camaraderie in the team. Like we've got a driver, a mechanic, sometimes 2 mechanics depending on where we are, myself. It might be someone else that we've employed just to help out and give one of their mates a job, It's and all of our guests get to become very intimate with those guys, and some of them end up going back and visiting them, and it's really cool. Some of these guys have been working for me for 15 years. They become part of the family.
It's a great concept. I haven't done the bike thing, but we've done a little bit of what you'd probably call like adventure tourism, if you like. And we've got one coming up actually. We're going to Thursday Island, right up to top of Cape York, out of Cairns, on a big troopy or whatever, about 8 of us or something overland. And what you said is what we've really enjoyed with those sort of trips. You bring together people that don't know each other, and they're together as a group, and you've got the support group. Someone's driving, someone's cooking, you're taking turns to cook or whatever, and you're camping out. It's a really nice way to meet people and relax and have fun. And you end up as part of the group. Your crew, you'll be that close to them. You make really good friendships.
With the motorbikes too is you're not in each other's pockets all day. So you've got a helmet on, you're riding your own bike.
You can be off on your own.
You don't even really talk to each other much during the day. Just at your little stop, you're having a cup of tea, everyone's having a laugh, taking photos. Instead of sitting on a bus and everyone's hungover going, shit.
That bloke in the corner just never shuts up.
It's really like at the end of the day, everyone's having a few beers and eating some prawns and having a real good laugh, because
you haven't got old mate up the back of the bus who's on about his 3rd flask, by about morning tea.
To worry about same stories over and over again.
In your ear. That's not going to happen.
No. So it's and the bikers are typically really good people. Like they've got that thing in common. Like, and I'll waffle on about it all day, but I think everyone should ride a motorbike. Instead of Albanese going on about not having roof racks on your car and all that sort of thing. Why not put everyone on motorbikes? That'll save heaps of petrol. Motorbikes use hardly any petrol. They're very social. They don't damage the roads. They're cheap. They're good for the environment. I'm like, why aren't we? There's a solution.
And there was no cars, only motorbikes. It wouldn't be as dangerous riding a motorbike either.
No, that's right.
In cars.
I mean, just go to Thailand or Bali. People come off, and there is tragic accidents, but there is in cars and everything.
Of course. A lot more in cars.
And they make you a better driver as well, So it's so if the Prime Minister's listening, there's my 2 cents.
I'm sure he is. I'm sure he can't wait for each episode to come out of it.
And I paid my tax bill today. Anthony, just letting you know.
Good man.
Good. Look, we're obviously interested in what you do with your business, but I'm also interested in you as a business person and the business journey. As you know, I've done a bit of it myself in various industries. It must feel good getting back on the horse, so to speak, after what would have been a pretty traumatic time. Coming out of COVID, losing another business. you know, you mentioned that you met the Sri Lankan dude. Is that the sort of light bulb moment that when, you know, I can do this again, I can revive this thing that I was so passionate about that meant so much to me, you know?
Yeah, that's actually really interesting thinking back, because that was now 3 years ago. It was nearly 3 years ago exactly that we actually kicked off that ride. But it was that moment of like, he showed me the website, and there's this beautiful hotel on the beach overlooking the Indian Ocean and on the west coast of Sri Lanka, and I went, I need to go here. And him and I become really good mates. I got some so funny stories about this kid. He's hilarious. But so I think I bombed out an email or put something on Facebook. I was pretty careful because I felt there was a lot of haters out there at the time. So I was probably kept it pretty low key and just put it out to a few people I knew well enough that, you know, and the response I got back was 100% positive. It was like, well, we're in, you know. And we took a really big group because it wasn't a tour sort of thing. It was just helping these guys out. It was for a bit of fun. I never did it as a Nevermind thing. It was about halfway through. About halfway through that trip, we got to a place called Nuwara Alia, way up in the mountains. It's where the British used to go for the summer, for the monsoon season. So you might have heard of So Colombo's on the coast, stinking hot in the monsoon. So the British, when they were in control of Ceylon at the time, you know, in the early 1900s, late 1800s, they'd go up. It's about 2,500 metres up. And it snows up there, you know. You're right on the equator. It's incredible. It's
in Sri Lanka, I didn't.
Sri Lanka, it's full of tea plantations, old British heritage buildings, and you know, so they live up there for 6 months and run the country from up there.
Like they did in India and in Southeast Asia.
Hill stations, they call them.
Stations, correct.
So this was Nuwara, there was a big one in Sri Lanka, and we were up there and we were having a few drinks at the bar after probably 3/4 of the way through the trip, and Wayne and Carol from Adelaide, the old customers of mine, they're like, Matt, what are you doing? I was working back in construction then. I was just took annual leave to run this trip. They're like, you got to get back to doing this. Like, this has been incredible. You're so good at it. And I wouldn't even wear a Nevermind t-shirt at the time. I was so broken by what had happened and, you know, the hate that had come out. You know, like I said, it's a small minority, but you only see the hatred. You don't see the support. So, you know, my spirit was pretty broken. But there was that moment I went, you know what? And I remember pulling out an old Nevermind t-shirt the next day and riding in it. And it felt good. And everyone was like, when's the next one? And that's when I started. I hadn't run a tour in Ireland before. I said, I've always wanted to go and ride Ireland. Would anyone be keen? And pretty much everyone on that trip went, let us know dates, times, prices. And the next one was going, you know, and then the next one, and then the next one. And now we're doing about 8 tours a year, which is me at maximum capacity. But that was kind of the light bulb moment for me. But there's a lot of synchronicity in there. Like I never planned it, you know, and that's what I am so shocked about, is looking back and going, how did that come about? You know, I never planned to run motorcycle tours again. I was like, that's me done. Right
time, it just sort of happened in the right time.
The right people.
Fell into place. It was the right thing to happen then, I guess. G'day. Thanks once again for listening to the Rambling Podcast. If you're a fan of what we're doing here and have been enjoying listening to the conversations we've been having, then please help us to keep these conversations going by supporting us on our Patreon page. You can follow us there for free, or for just $5 a month, you can gain early access to each episode, listen to episodes ad-free, and listen to exclusive content for our paid subscribers only. Just jump on www.patreon.com/rambling_podcast. We love bringing these conversations to you, and we'd love it if you'd show your support and help to make sure we can keep these conversations going well into the future. Now, back to the conversation. So let's step back a bit. We just talked about how you were you got back on the horse. You're running your own business. We just mentioned that transition into working for someone else. How long between when you closed down Nevermind, coming out of COVID, and you started working for someone else? How long had it been before you'd worked for someone else before?
Oh, 10 years.
10 years.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, for me, it's probably been 20.
Yeah,
20
right.
Years. It's a long time, isn't it, to be working for yourself? March, and look, you know, owning your own business is no beer and skittles. There's a lot of challenges and it's a lot of hard work, but there's certain challenges about working for someone else that you're not used to.
Yeah, I wonder. It's a individual sort of personal thing. Like for me, I've never enjoyed working for someone else. Look, back when I was a teenager at McDonald's, I did enjoy it. It was fun, but after uni and then going into the corporate world, so to speak, and construction, I never was, I was a square peg in a round hole sort of thing. Like I made it work, and I could bluff my way through, but I never sat very easy with me until I went and had a crack. It took a lot of balls. The first time I went out on my own, it was like, well, I didn't know how it was going to play out, and I didn't have a plan. But
what did that look like when you first went out on your own?
Oh, I mean, was
that Nevermind, or was that something else?
It wasn't called Nevermind then. It was basically it would have been 2011, 2010, something like that. I was working for BHP up in the mines, iron ore, and I just fly out up in the Pilbara. Not for me, put it that way. So I remember it was between Christmas and New Year, and they'd actually sent me back to the Perth office because they knew I'd had enough up there, and I borrowed a mate's Ducati Monster, which is a pretty incredible motorcycle. Actually, I loved it. Mate Timbo from Perth, and I was riding in and back, and I remember I was in. Actually, I just transitioned to a new job with Chevron in oil and gas. I'd only been with them a month or two. It was probably like the 27th of December, and I'd ridden the motorcycle in, hung my leather jacket on the back of this chair, and sitting there checking my emails, and my computer shuts down, this little man comes on the screen, it's time to do your stretches.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, right, I started rolling a smoke. I used to smoke back in those days, so made a rollie and went outside and had a smoke. Come back, the little man's finished doing his stretches. I'm like, this is a perfect crime. Yeah. And I get an email pops up from a manager, and he says, "Oh, Matt, that's your first official warning."
Oh, really?
And I go, what?
Because you didn't do your stretches.
Yeah, I didn't. Oh. He goes, I've noticed this has been going on for a month now. You haven't been doing your stretches. Every time the little man comes on, you go out for a smoke, and that's just not in the spirit of things.
The spirit of things, okay.
And mind you, he sat in the cubicle next to me, and he sent me an email. I thought, you bastard,
He didn't even speak to you. He sent you an email about it.
I didn't even, I was just like that. Grabbed my jacket, rode home. I was home by like 10:30 in the morning, and my wife goes, "What are you doing home?" And I'm like, "I'm done. Never going back." Yeah. I didn't give him notice or anything. I was just, I'm done. And she goes, "What do you mean you're done? We've got a $500,000 mortgage." I mean, this is 2011, so I've got two kids in primary school. Yeah. So she's like, "We're going to lose a house." She goes, "What are you going to?" I go, "I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm not going back to that world." And so a bit like you, I dabble in a bit of guitar and that. And I went busking down in the streets of Fremantle because we were living in Perth at the time. Yeah. Tried everything, I started selling old surfboards. And
you do what you got to do, don't you?
Just bits and pieces, anything. But it was never enough to make the payments on the mortgage. What I did learn is that the banks actually don't really care for a while. Like you can string that out for a long time. They don't want your shit house. They want to see you get back on your feet and catch up. So probably got away with it for 6 months or so, and then I started selling stuff on eBay back then. And I had a handmade leather satchel that I'd bought in India a year before. I was doing some charity, supporting a charity over there at the time, and thought, I'll flog this off. The guy who bought it said, "Oh, this is incredible. Can you get any more of them?" And I had the guy who bought it. I had his business card. I rang him up. I said, "Can you get me more of those leather satchel bags?" And whatever you want, mate. So I got like $1,000 worth. Went down the Fremantle market, did a little pop up, and just walked out at the end of the weekend with pineapples falling out my pockets. I was like, whoa! It was all cash, and I was like, shit.
Light bulb goes on. Yeah.
Got all that cash together, and after I bought a few beers and paid a few bills, and then got another shipment sent out, and a slightly bigger one, and went down for another weekend over Easter and made a bit more money, and slowly built just selling these handmade leather products from India. And the boys do a great job. I still sell it, and sort of. I thought, a permanent stall. The Fremantle Market's an incredible incubator for small businesses. I really I was there 5 years. I was fond memories of that place.
What years were you there? Because
I was there, say, 2000 and probably 12.
Okay, no, we'd left by then.
And I probably did 2 years working in there, but I kept the business open in there, and I had a staff member running it for me for a few years.
We used to always go down there. Whenever we had visitors in Perth, we always go and spend the afternoon. Sit at the Lanka and just watch the human flotsam and jetsam wander in and out of the market. Yeah.
I wonder what I'm doing back here sometimes. I do love Torquay, but that's another. But one thing led to another, and ended up with a permanent stall down there and shop basically, and people were asking like, where does this get made? You know, I was telling the story. I supported. It was a primary school at the time we sponsored, and showing photos of the handmade products. And then I'd been over a few times riding these Royal Enfields, because the Royal Enfields are made in India. So I used to ride one of them. So I'd show people videos and that on my phone. They're like, "Do you ever go back and would you take some people with you? You know, me and a couple of boys wouldn't mind coming with you." And I went, that light bulb moment where, wow, I could sell them.
This could be a business.
Yeah, well, and then I could use that money to buy more products from my shop, and this could work. So next thing you know, I'm running a motorbike tour in India, you know. Yeah. And then I ran one and had, say probably a dozen people on that one. The first one, I'd never run a motorbike tour before in my life, never been on one, but did what I thought it should be, you know. It was rough. Like, it was like, booking the hotels, 2 hours before we got into town and that sort of stuff. Like, it was so shit. Yeah. But everyone who did it came back. They were like, Matt, that was incredible. When's the next one? Yeah. So we went and did the Himalayas, the highest roads in the world, 6 months later, and went from 2 or 3 trips a year to 5 or 6. And at one point, just before COVID, we were doing 20 international tours a year. It was incredible, and that was sort of built over a period of probably 8 years, I guess. So it was pretty organic how it all come together. And I mean, even the name Nevermind, everyone's like, how'd you come up with that? And it's like, the easy story is like, I'm a Nirvana fan.
Oh yeah, I wondered about that. I wondered the first time I saw it. Yeah,
it does have a role to play in it, because it was probably about 3 or 4 weeks into these having a pop-up stall at the Fremantle Market, and Natasha, I think she's still there actually, the manager, she rang up, she says, Matt, if you want a permanent store, you need a business name. And I've gone, well, I haven't really got a business, at that stage it was just selling bits and pieces. Yeah. She goes, you can change it. Just give us a name. It's just got to put it under something. And I went, and I picked up my business card from a leather maker. And had Dinesh's leather. Once buy, never worry. Once buy, never worry. And the album of Nevermind, Nirvana Nevermind, was sitting there. Once buy, never worry. Never mind, never worry. I went, let's just call it Nevermind. And I've never really liked it that much, but it stuck, So it was just a spur of the moment thing.
I reckon it's good, because it sort of gives that spirit of the free spirit kind of adventure.
It works.
I think so. Yeah,
it works.
It's quite ambiguous. I wondered when I saw it. I'm thinking, I'm trying to sort of place what it might mean, but I quite like it actually. Now I understand a bit more about the business as well. I think it's quite good. It's quite
and I needed a logo, and I just started Google searching, and I found this brewery in Torquay. I thought, I'll just copy him.
Matt, I want to just go back for a second, because this school in India, just by chance, has been so important to where you've ended up now. That initial connection. How on earth did was that first connection made?
That's a big part of the story, to be honest. Yeah, it's probably, like I said, I was fly out in the Pilbara with the big iron ore companies and BHP and whatnot, and so I had plenty of money, and one of my wife's relatives was involved in this school and started it up. He went to Agra, and he found there was a lot of kids that weren't going to school.
Is in Agra, the school?
Yeah, place called Taj Ganj, and I'm no longer involved in it, to be completely honest. I found it complicated the business too much, and during COVID it sort of, when I restarted up, I just wanted to cut ties with all that. They've got plenty going on. So,
but were you like a supporter? Just money, keep paying money, and got a connection.
I had a meltdown before I started Nevermind, probably 2 years before, and I took 3 months off work, and took the kids were 4 and 7. So I took the wife and 2 kids, and we went and lived in India for 3 months, and went helped out at the school, and then caught the trains down the West Coast and to Goa and whatnot, and just slowly moved around, and it was an incredible experience. That was 2010, I think.
Were we in Rajasthan where you lived?
Rajasthan,
beautiful.
And we went down to Mumbai, Goa, Kerala, all the way down the West Coast, and
I'm jealous.
Just moved really slowly. 2 young kids and everything.
What a country! Isn't India just the most fascinating place? I know you've got an interest in a lot of parts of the world, but India's probably one of the the favourite place I've probably ever been.
It's probably the country I've been to the most.
The humanity in the place, and the entrepreneurial, the hard work of those people, they all going gangbusters. Whatever they do, they're either growing a few veggies or they've got a little shop, a little business, so hardworking. And there's so many of them, you know?
Yeah. Yep.
There's just people everywhere. It's a fabulous, and so much colour and music and sound. It's a fantastic place to visit. If anyone hasn't been to India, like everyone should go there once in their life. I
definitely.
think myself.
Yep. It's good for your soul. Yeah, definitely.
It is good for your soul. It's
everything you said there, I agree with.
And it's spiritual, like you said. It's also a highly spiritual place.
Well, it's our first 2 tours were in India. Were run.
Yeah.
So Nevermind, it is probably the birthplace of Nevermind, Rajasthan and the Himalayas there. Like I said, I've got Indian guys, mechanics and drivers and whatnot that have been working for me since those days. 15 odd years. You know.
Fantastic.
There's a lot of good Indian people.
They're
out there,
great people. They are.
And they're getting copping a bad bit of flack at the moment here in Australia. And I feel for some of them. You know, some of them don't do themselves any favours, and that's the same as Aussies as well. You know?
Of course.
But there's a lot of them just good, honest people, just working hard.
Certainly are. Yeah. Well, that's really interesting. I just think how that almost incidental connection led to the leather bag, and then the leather bag to something else.
I'll put that in the movie scripts. Put
it in the book.
It's funny, and I understand it completely because it kind of correlates again a fair bit with what happened with Valhalla, and just start off again as a hobby, and then I was like, when a homebrew comp, think, have a crack at this, and then put a couple of beers out, and people really like it, and it sort of goes from there, and then this, that, and the other. And it's just it does a snowball.
So Scotty, will we be seeing? Will Valhalla be making a resurgence one day? Maybe then.
Incredibly unlikely.
No, I said the same thing. I said exactly the same thing.
I miss that Obsidian beer, mate. You've got at least one customer if you come back into the business.
I've got plenty of customers if I come back.
You would have. You would have.
No, it's extremely unlikely. But one part of your small business career that I'm fascinated. I don't know how much you want to go into it, but you can tell me to piss off. But you ended up on the Shark Tank as a. I'm really fascinated about that process. I'd love to hear more about how that came about, and I have talked to you about it before, and it's probably not long after it happened, and your experience there. So I understand a little bit about what happened, but I'd love to hear more about how that came about.
Honestly, it was an awesome experience. And now I'm 10 plus years down the track from it. I look back and I love it. I can watch it now. There was a long time I couldn't watch it.
Oh, really?
I was like, just the ignorance of myself. Like I had no idea what I was getting myself in for. I didn't know my numbers. I was literally, I was like a rabbit in the headlights, on there. When I watch it now, but now I can laugh at it. It was a lot of fun. But incredible. Like I was living here, just around the corner from you in Centre Court here.
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
And one day I saw an ad pop up. I was googling something and said, looking for people to go on Shark Tank, and I went, I'll apply for that. Why not?
You know what Shark Tank was, Brian?
Yes, I know. I haven't watched the show. I know the concept. I know the concept.
If you go to YouTube, because it's still on the YouTube Channel 10 YouTube, but if you type in Nevermind Adventure Shark Tank, it's all on there. It's
that's my homework for the week. I'm going to do that.
It's a good watch. It only goes for 10 minutes or so. But I reckon I'm the only person that's ridden a Royal Enfield motorcycle onto a Shark Tank set, with a guitar case, leather bag on the back. I look like a clown, but it was an amazing entrance.
Well, A, I don't think you'd be the only one that looked like a clown on the show, and B, I don't think you'd be the only one that looked like a rabbit in the fucking headlights on the show either. I didn't watch it a lot, but the bits I've seen, people did look out of their depth quite a lot, and I think that's probably was part of the attraction. That was probably what they encouraged on the show,
totally,
right? To get these sort of like naive business people in, and
crazy
we'll get the big tough business people to like put them through the ringer, and So you went on the show. What was the lead up to actually going on the show?
Well, they do is they do a phone audition, just a little phone interview, and then you go to Melbourne and they do like they'll have a panel, like a Shark Tank panel, but it might be just one of the sharks, and then the rest of them are sort of just, the Channel 10 people, and they grill you a bit, and then you get through that, and then they fly you up to Sydney, to the studios out in the western suburb. I don't even know where they went. It's like a 4 a.m. flight, and you sit in a tin shed. It was 42 degrees. And I went on like 4 p.m. I'd sat in this tin shed for 12 hours, sweating a ring out, waiting, and then then they dust you off and off you go. It's like, and it looks all glitz and glamour, but you're literally in an airport hangar. And the set's all like, it looks like you're in a high rise in the city somewhere. It's not.
Wow.
But they're all really cool. Some are more cool than the others. Like I think Janine Alice she was awesome. Like I actually had her because she's from Aries Inlet. She has a house in Aries Inlet, so we kind of had that connection. And she interviewed me, and she was on the panel in Melbourne here, and then she was up there, and she was really encouraging, really generous, and like even afterwards, you know, she didn't offer to invest or anything. It was all too hard work for her. She's got plenty going on making juices, but she's like,
the boost juice.
So she was like, you ever need any help, or you know, you want some advice, or I'm happy to catch. Just that offer was there. I think I hit her up once or twice to catch up if she was coming through town. She was out of town or overseas or something, or I was, you know. But that was, she was super nice. Steve Baxter was the one that actually offered me investment of $200K for 50% of my company, and I took it on the show. I was like, I can't knock this back on national TV.
So you've got to say yes or no on the show.
Okay. But like only 5% of the deals actually go through. So it was like I just took it, and then me and Steve were like best mates, and like whoa on TV, and then you just get grilled for about 6 months, and they pull your business apart. It's not like it's like so many strings attached to that money. You're kind of mad if you do take it. And I had a few of the other like past Shark Tanks. There's a bit of a community. Once you go on there, there's like a Facebook group and that, you'll go in there, and you do get a bit of support from the other past sort of contestants.
That's probably worth it on its own, wouldn't it?
Totally, I made a lot of friends that weren't even on the same episode and that, and I just met them through that, and you know, even their products were related to mine. Like Rescue Swag was one. I ended up selling her products in my shop and using them on my tours, and we become mates. And she actually advised, she goes, look, I took the money. She goes, I wish I didn't. You know? Probably talking out of school here, but you know, that was a long time ago. So I never went through with it, and I just couldn't tick all the boxes they wanted. You know, it's like, you know, my books were probably, I wouldn't say a mess, but, you know, I didn't know what I was doing. So, you know, like, they weren't perfect. They weren't squeaky clean, that's for sure. They probably never will be. So, amazing experience. It's so interesting. Like, that's got over millions of views on YouTube. Like, it's incredible exposure. So, I had a gentleman from Italy book Rajasthan last year. Antonio, I'll send this to him actually. He's nicest guy ever, mid-30s, engineer, quiet guy, just super fun guy, loves his motorbikes. Booked a tour with us from Italy, and I'm going, hey, why? Like, why go with us? There's other tour companies, like, why Rajasthan, why us? He goes, I watched your video on Shark Tank. You seem like a really honest, nice bloke. And I go, wow. This is 10 years later. Okay, you beauty. Thanks, Channel 10.
Great marketing.
Free to you. So, fantastic. So I must have come across all right. So ignorant, but, you know, honest ignorant.
So isn't it interesting, because I'm not a great reality TV watcher, to say the least. I watched a little bit of reality TV with my beautiful wife last night, briefly. She'd been away for a couple of days. She came home, I cooked a lovely dinner, and I said, you watch something that you'd like to watch tonight. And, you know, and
what was it?
Love Island?
No, it was
Married at First Sight or something.
Oh, maths. Oh my God. So it's so disingenuous, you know. Like, it's so fake. It's so heavily edited.
There's nothing reality.
You can see all that. There's nothing reality about it. And you reminded me of it when you just said, you know, they offer you the deal and they go, oh yeah, I'll take it. Well, that's all just for TV. And then you go back behind the scene, and it may or may not happen. It's because there's no contract. They just say, oh yeah, we'll do it. But then you've got to actually do the stuff behind the scenes. So what they broadcast to air is nothing like what's going to happen.
It's fascinating to see how it plays out afterwards. Like I took a deal with Steve Baxter, he's a great guy. We become mates, and he's up on the Gold Coast, went up there, but he's got a whole investment, basically a company that invests in new startups, you know. A lot of young, like I was one of the oldest. I was probably late 30s then, 37, 38. And I was probably 10 years older than everyone else, and he'd have these sort of conferences, I guess, and parties, you know. I went up a few times. It was great fun. Just a bunch of kids getting on the piss, you know, sharing their business stories and stuff like that. It's fantastic. And him and I got kicked out of the pub up in the Goldie as well one night. It was great. Had to carry him back. I carried him back to his room.
Love it. You heard it here first.
That's a first.
The bouncers go, we know who he is. I go, who? They go, Steve, we know who he is. Get him out of here. And I go, I'll look after him.
Before there's a bloody national incident or something.
A reputation.
Thank me later, Steve.
Yeah. Love it. So I guess the other side of small business and the ups and downs of small business is the mental health side of it. Like, how have you coped with that? You would have had the ups and downs. You probably still have some moments.
Yeah.
Are you going all right with all of that?
Yeah, look, for me, it's I've been lucky. I've got, when all this went down, it was here, in Geelong, sort of Belmont, Torquay area. I've got a lot of good friends that I grew up with, that. So, my best mate Marco, a bit like your mate Liam, just lived across the, I moved into Belmont and lived across the road from him, and so he was there for me. And I think that's really important, to have friends around you, and you don't need many, but that's, I would say, what really helped me get through. I would say stay off the booze. I didn't, but like that's when you're going through a tough time, it doesn't make it easier. No. Like, it makes it harder.
Not hard to avoid it though. I mean, it is hard to avoid it as well, isn't it? So hard to get. Well,
it's like you have half a dozen beers and it's like you feel great. You're who cares? I can deal with it. The next day you're like, oh my god, the anxiety's through the roof. So I would say that's a mistake. But in saying that, I did it and did a lot of it. But staying fit, obviously, all the stuff people know, there's nothing there. Motorcycles are so good for your mental health. Like, it's easy for me to say it's my thing, but going for a ride with a couple of mates down the lawn, having a coffee and coming back 2 hours out of your life, there's something about the fresh air and being in nature and being disconnected. You've got a helmet on. Yeah,
you can't check your phone. You can't do anything but concentrate on the ride.
It's where I get my best ideas, is when I'm on the bikes. I have to pull over sometimes and write shit down. Like, that's a great one. But that really helps as well. But that's booking a motorbike tour with Nevermind, that'd probably help as well, I'd imagine. But I mean, you can't run away. You can't hide from these things. You've really got to just survive it. It's like there's no
reach out to people around you, like you say.
There's no easy answer and there's no easy solution. I pulled together. We don't do it anymore, but there's a few other friends of mine that similar age going through separation, divorces and stuff. We pulled together a bit of a men's group. We go to the pub every Wednesday night and have dinner. So sometimes you have a beer, sometimes you wouldn't, but we all said like there's a real diverse age group too. Like we had Kobe, who's still a good mate of mine. He was 21, 22. I was mid 40s. We had Greg, who's in his late 60s, and just there's like half a dozen of us. Sometimes it'd be 12, 15 of us, sometimes it'd only be two of us, sometimes I'd be by myself, but there was always someone to go on a Wednesday night, and we always said Thursday we'd be messaging each other going, how good do you feel today? Like, just from having that social activity, getting out. It was COVID times as well, so it was hard to get out and you'd have to show your vaccine, your ticket and all that sort of stuff, but just just getting out of the house, getting out and about, that was huge, so it's
interesting, Matt, you're saying there, like motorbikes for you, how important that was as an element of this, keeping yourself well. So it might be motorbikes for you, but I'm just thinking close friends, and being able to talk to close friends, and it might need a lot, but that's really important, obviously.
Absolutely.
But that having a really strong interest and a passion in something and keeping doing it must be important too when you're feeling really low. For you, it might be motorbike. Somebody else, it could be bloody bird watching or golf, or it could be anything. But you want to keep that up, don't you?
Yep.
Because it's the social connection that goes with that.
Yep.
Not just the activity itself, but the social connection, I think, which is really critically important as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you think? I think about it in terms of like all of this is we're just biochemical machines, really, humans, aren't we? Like, depression, anxiety, even happiness and love. It's all just endorphins and serotonin and dosages. To me, it feels like that anyway.
He's getting all engineering on us now. Well, he might have left me now. He's getting all sciencey.
When I jump on a motorbike, for some reason, I get an injection of the feel-good stuff. If I sleep in all day, I don't get that injection.
Correct.
So it's I think you just whatever gets those juices flowing. I think
Yeah, for me, it was getting the ocean every morning, and you know, I mean, I was thankfully I wasn't going through separation, divorce at the same time like you were, so I had support of my wife and my daughter and family as well. So that was a saving grace for me as well. But for me, it was getting in the ocean every morning. I still do it now. I don't feel quite like it's as important now, but I still do it.
Yeah.
But then it was like, it was just something that was like, right, I've got to reset here. I've got to, you know, I've got to do something that I've never done before. Yeah. And something that really sets creates the intention for the day.
Yeah. You just said something. I was like, did you read that off there?
No, go somewhere you've never been before.
That was my brochure there.
Yeah, no, well, maybe subconsciously I was sort of looking at it out of the corner of my eye. Yeah. So for me it was that. So it could be anything. It could be all sorts of things. It could be the bikes. It could be, you know, playing golf with some mates, or it could be just catching up socially. But it's just something to get a routine to stop you from, I guess, wallowing's not a great word, but you know, but being drowned in it. I'm
the same as you. At that time, I wasn't in the ocean every day, but I did surf a fair bit, a couple of times a week. But now I'm the same as you. Like I'm a bit out of town, but I go to Bankura every morning. Yep. Rain, hail, shine, middle of winter. Yep. I do, you know, a couple of push-ups, couple of squats, and I jump in the water for 5 or 10 minutes. Yep. And
it doesn't have to be massive. You don't have to run 20 K's a day or bloody 20 an hour at the gym or anything. You don't have to do that.
Just if there's one thing, you walk on the beach for 10 minutes and just jump in that water and you hit the nail on the head again. I'll agree with you 150% there, Scott. That is probably such an underrated thing you can do for yourself, and I think everyone should do it. It doesn't, you know, the cold water and all that helps. You know, you can do the Wim Hof style, but just jump in. It's I'm convinced that, you know, just getting that sunlight on your body, even if it's just 10 minutes or so, there's minerals and stuff in that water. You're breathing it in, the salt water. It's so pristine here, so beautiful. I mean, I do it when I'm in Sri Lanka and everywhere. It's kind of, even when I'm in Patagonia, I jump in the lakes, you know, and they're real cold. But
it resets your immune system as well. So I don't reckon I've been crook since I've started getting in the ocean. You know, it resets your immune. It really puts your body into shock, but in a way that wakes it up. And
if you have got a hangover,
instant hangover kills.
It does help.
I'm not saying that it's the cure-all to hangovers.
It's probably one of the best things you can do in general. So that's a good one to bring up. But
cool. Yeah,
I'll see you down there tomorrow.
Yeah, front beach normally for me. Good. So we normally like to touch on you know, where you came from. You're a Geelong born and bred boy. You said Warm Ponds. You used to kick around there.
Grew up in Grovedale. Born in Geelong Hospital in the 70s, and my grandparents came out from Poland. I think it was like 49. Something like that, you know, concentration camps, refugees. The Americans came in and sort of liberated them, and then they had a couple of years in refugee camps in Europe, and then my grandparents they weren't married over there. They met here in Victoria somewhere, Orbost, I think.
They came out separately.
Came out separately, moved to Geelong, built a house in Belmont, Bailey Street, Belmont. The house is still there, actually. And then we never moved too far from there. The Grovedale popped up in the late 70s, early 80s, and moved out there. Grandparents lived with us. Old Poppy in his 80s living in the backyard, making his own. That's where I learned to make beer. He made a terrible drop of beer. Smoked eels and really bad beer.
Oh, yum. Give me the smoked eels. They'd be beautiful.
No, it wasn't.
Smoked eels.
Smoked eel pate is okay.
Yes.
But, the way he used to eat it was pretty rough, but we grew up there. Went to St. Joey's. Where did I go from there? Sort of stayed here local for a while. Went to uni at Deakin. I went overseas for probably 3 years after high school. Travelled South Africa, all around Africa for about a year, then Europe, and just backpack surfing. Really, I watched Endless Summer. I watched Endless Summer, and I bought a one-way ticket to Johannesburg and went to Jeffreys Bay surfing.
So summer's always been travel's always been in the blood, massive. In the spirit.
And that's another thing I'll say to people, like reading. My old man got me into reading books and motorbikes at a very young age, and I think it just inspires your imagination.
It does. It opens the world up, doesn't it?
If your kids read.
And read to your kids. That's one thing.
They're going to have a good life, I think. They just you think a bit differently. You have crazy ideas, but you that's why you should have crazy ideas. So it's a dying art form. Like even I can't read as well as I used to because I'm the attention span. It's so distracted.
I do have a bit of trouble with attention span, but I mean I've always loved reading, and I'm probably because I'm sort of trying to get in. I'm starting to get into writing. As well, so I'm reading from a technical point of view as well at the moment. Like I've sort of got one eye on the story and enjoying that, but also on the structure of the words and so on.
The hero's journey.
So reading a bit of Hemingway because I want to understand how he writes and that sort of thing. So I'm kind of got two hats on when I'm reading, but I understand about the attention span thing. It's and I think a lot of small business owners and entrepreneurs probably do have a bit of that attention span problem, which they might call ADHD or something these days.
Yeah. I think you're probably right. I've just bought a Nokia flip phone, the old... Just so I can put my... because I just find myself, I'll check the time and
Sucks
then 20 minutes later I'm scrolling through Instagram and I'm like, what the fuck's going on here? Like, that was just
wasted 20 minutes of my life.
I've got, shout out to Frankie up in Byron Bay and Rosie's staff that they can take phone calls and stuff. I want to take a couple of hours off just to focus on writing a sales email or just a general email to our customers or, just focus on something creative. Best to just turn that thing off, and just just have the Nokia there. They can ring me if they need me, and that works a treat. I've found it really helps. So I think more and more we'll see people doing that.
I think so.
Well, I know, Matt, you're talking primarily about reading there and how important that is, but the arts more broadly are so important, aren't they? All of those, whether it's fine arts, movies, music. We talk a lot of music here, live music, and I think you're interested in music as well.
Definitely,
reading, music, the arts. For me, opera, like in an old-fashioned form, but that sort of creative activity, and just that opens up your mind to the possibilities of who you can be as an individual. I think all of that, whether it's literature, painting, just seeing some fine art, travelling the world and looking at the fine art of the world, the old world, all that stuff. It's just such an important part of being a human being. I think being open to the creative input, because I can't. Don't you appreciate it from others? When you look at it, you think, shit, I wish I could have written that, or wish I could have painted that, or play or sing like that. And when you take it in, for me, it just makes me feel really human when I feel the influence of creative arts. So important.
Yeah, Brian, I saw something the other day and it really hit home. It's like, I think more and more as a society, we've become consumers, not creators. We used to, just the act of creating something, like you said, is just, just writing an email to your database is creating something from nothing, and it's very rewarding. It feels good, and where does that come from? Like who knows? Picking up the guitar and just banging out a riff and going, that's going to make a good song. I mean, how good does that feel, Scott?
Well, I'm not quite there to actually make anything that would sound like a good song, but I am trying. And that's another thing that's come out of having more time on my hands. Something I've always wanted to do, which is learn an instrument. And then one of our regulars at Valhalla makes cigar box guitars.
I saw that.
So he gave me that, and it's like, fuck, I'm gonna do this now. I'm actually gonna dedicate some time in my life to learning something, doing something that I always said I might not ever be able to do. So I'm definitely not going to join a band, and I'm probably not going to write any songs very soon. But it's good fun.
Why not?
Well,
like this
never
is the
say
thing.
never.
Why not? How old are you? You're the same age as me, yeah?
Yeah, 55.
55. You're older than me.
Yeah, I'm older than you.
So why not?
Yeah.
Why not start a band?
I'm not saying I wouldn't.
C6 Steve.
Yeah.
You know heard of C6 Steve? He's in his late 60s when he made it.
Right. True. That is very true.
You can teach an old dog new tricks.
It's that self-limiting belief thing, isn't it?
It is. If you tell yourself you can, you tell yourself you can't, you're right.
Exactly.
Look, don't. Like, I'll come and jam with you. I'm no expert, but I can string a few chords together. Yeah. I'm a really good singer. Frankie.
Are you being
I'm brilliant.
No, he is being
sarcastic.
You were trying to say. He's taking the piss, I think is what you're trying to say.
I haven't even attempted that part of it yet. But no, it's good fun, and it's just I think there was just a moment where I picked that thing up and went, you know, I just banged out some noise. I went, this is great fun. Who cares? Nobody's listening.
About.
Like, you know, it's releasing. You know, it releases a lot of energy, a lot of pent up frustration or anger or whatever. You're just banging out some noise.
But that's some of the best songs have been written by people that have never had any musical training. Like Cobain could never read music or anything, just self-taught. Knew half dozen chords, and you know, he
the entirety of punk, pretty much. You know,
there you go. So you know that's how new stuff's created. You know, it's like if it's the guys that are fully trained and indoctrinated that struggle to come up with anything new. You know,
I think there's an element of that in business too, in small business, isn't it? When starting, totally, you'd be like you said, you know, your books weren't the greatest, and you didn't plan, you didn't have a business plan, you didn't even have a business name. You just went out there because
still haven't.
I mean, I'd probably the same. I've started a small business because I had him a boss at the time, and Ange got sick of me coming home and whinging about it. So he said, just start your own fucking business.
You become your own boss, and you hate your boss as well.
Your customers become your boss, and then you get to hate them. But no, let's not go there. Not your customers. You don't hate your customers, of course.
I love mine. They're great. So that's it. I mean, in what I do, you spend 2 weeks on the bikes traveling the world. It's like you become very, very close to people. Like it's amazing actually the amount of people I've got to know, the stories I've heard, and that, you know, because everyone's got an amazing story. You know, not many people will share it, you know, but after 3 or 4 days on the road and a couple of beers, you're just amazed what people come out with.
They loosen up. And
The road's a great place for stories, isn't it? To travel and meet new people, there's nothing like it. One of our adventure trips I was talking about before was to the Northern Territory, my wife and I and a group of others, you know, outback camping sort of stuff, and a woman joined a woman on her own joined the rest of us just as we were about to go. She was sort of ethnically, she was American as it turned out, but she was ethnically Indian, and she was. She hardly spoke to anyone at all. She was almost silent for the first day or so, and the rest of us were getting to know each other, and it was a really mixed group of people. It was a whole lot of fun. She was very withdrawn and very quiet for quite some time, and we didn't know whether she could even speak English for a while. She was so quiet. Thought maybe she's Indian from India. She had come from India, but she was an American doctor who had lost a baby only several weeks before, and decided she just needed to go somewhere in her own place and space and time. And she flew
away from home
all the way around the world via India, and came to Darwin and joined this crew. And for 2 or 3 days, you know, she was probably jet lagged apart from everything else, going through the loss of a child as the mother. Like, my God. And within a couple of days, a few days, one of the women sort of had quite word to her, opened up, and then she, you know, within 4 or 5 days, she's part of the group and going on, you know. Like,
I see so much of that. Like,
you would see a lot of that sort of stuff. Like, incredible.
Guys breaking down in tears.
Incredible.
In Patagonia in January, and we're in the middle of nowhere. And it was like day 4 or 5, and this bloke I became really good mates with him, actually. I'm not going to mention his name, but he, we'd had a real tough day, like a few things going wrong, a few people falling off, a lot of dirt roads and stuff. Nothing serious, but nothing that I hadn't seen before.
No.
But it was a hard day for these guys, and they were tired and probably a bit hungover from the night before. And we just pulled up somewhere, and he just walked off on his own and was just in tears. I was like, shit, I broke at him, you know. But then later on, we pulled up and we're having a cup of tea and that, and he sort of come and apologised to everyone. He goes, oh, look, I just want to say, you know, it's nothing you guys did or anything. It's just being out here with you guys. It just, you know, I lost my brother recently, and I won't go into details. It wasn't a great situation, and he goes, just sort of brought it all back, and thanks for having me back and sharing the experience. And it was just wow. You know, that was incredible. Like day 6 or 7, you know, more than halfway through the trip.
Amazing.
And then we just all got on with it, and it was such a great bonding with the group after that. You know, it's like,
great honesty on the road. You know, in those sort of situations, like people are,
bang on, Brian.
They can relax. I think they feel safe. If they're well looked, like you're looking after these guys, everything's looked after. You don't have to stress about anything. We just go along and enjoy ourselves. And what they really need to do sometimes is to have that opportunity to let some of this stuff go in a safe environment, which, you know, if they're working in a corporate bloody office or something, you're not going to do it there. You know, that's fantastic. So
it's a safe space,
good on you. Yeah, good on you.
Better than doing stresses in front of your computer, because the little man pops up every half an hour and tell you to do something.
I still haven't got over it, clearly.
Another Barry.
I started getting triggered then when you mentioned the little man on the computer screen.
He's still dabbing damaged from it.
Trauma. How do you guys know each other, by the way? I didn't know you had a podcast until I bumped into you at the
No,
pub
I've been doing
recently,
the podcast for over a year now. This will be episode 46. We played cricket together originally. And then our friendship, I suppose, was cemented through travel. So, which is why we got such a strong interest in travel. We'd played cricket together, and then Ange and I, we packed up our life basically and went off overseas for a year and a half. And then we met Brian when we were in Italy.
Well, between that period, then my marriage broke down in that period of time. And so I was single again. I was still at the cricket club, kept sort of in touch with these guys who'd been... It was around that time, wasn't it, actually, when I became single again, when we first met?
Yeah.
Or during
I think it was
the early
just
days.
before you joined the club.
Around that time. Scott and Ange were great supports for me when I was struggling through that difficult time, which you could understand. And then they went overseas, and then I thought, I'd never been to Europe, and I've got Italian on my mother's side, Gianni, Italian migrants from a long time back, but I had a fascination with, I love the opera and I like Italian food, and I thought, I've got to get there, so I saved hard. I had 3 boys to care for as well, shared sort of arrangement with my former wife. Get them through school, so I was all busy. Money was tight. I had a good enough income to save enough to head to Europe. And I said to those guys, "I'm coming over. Can we meet somewhere?" So off I went. I backpacked. At 40,
awesome.
I'm backpacking around Italy, looking for my forebears and finding them and being smothered in love and food by these long lost Italian Gianni families up on the Swiss-Italian border. It was such good fun, and with these guys. So we met and we travelled. We spent time travelling together over there. Got quite a few weeks together. Which was
from northern Italy down into Sicily. Particularly Sicily was And
so
that really cemented our friendship.
So, and travel is a great it's a great way to expand yourself as a person and expand your understanding of the world. But it's also, I think, it's a great target to have. It's a great because I think people, whether it's small business or whether you're working for someone else, you're working hard. You wonder what it's all for. You've got to have, sort of goals in mind. I think
it's an incredible world out there. Have you heard of Terence McKenna?
I have.
So I'm fascinated by the bloke. I've been for a few years. So they call him, I guess from the 70s onwards, he was a real proponent for psychedelic, medicine, or you would call it, we call it drugs or whatever, but more mushrooms and ayahuasca and all that sort of stuff. Before it was cool, And he's got some on YouTube. Like I can just, when I go to bed at night and I can't sleep, I chuck a Terence McKenna lecture on. So just beautiful to listen to. An amazing speaker, and he talks about his trips and that he's had, and but he talks about travel like similar to what you said. He goes, He goes, the best way I can describe a psychedelic experience, taking ayahuasca or mushrooms, a trip like that, a big dose where you're tripping out. I'm not saying that, I'm a proponent for that or anything, but,
This is Terence McKenna's words.
I might be, I might not be. But, he goes, the closest you can come to it without ingesting something is travel. That's what will expand your horizons, your mind. You just have, you're putting yourself out there. Like Sri Lanka is an amazing place for me. And I'll go, why? Everywhere I go, I just seem to meet these people and have these experiences. A bit like the whole story of Nevermind and your story, Scott. And it's like, I looked up a bit of history about Sri Lanka, and it used to be called Serendip. So serendipity, the word serendipity comes from the Persian name for Sri Lanka 1,000 years ago.
Does it really?
It's always been known as this place, and as a place in the world where serendipitous events happen, where you might go off and just explore and bump into someone, and then they take you there, and then you find the hidden treasure, and then the dragon chases you, and then you find the princess.
It's all a bit mystical and magical.
It is magical. It is magical, and I love Sri Lanka for that. There is a fairy tale that's quite famous in Sri Lanka that tells the whole story about 2 brothers that got lost. Persian brothers got lost in Serendip and all their adventures along the way. So, I mean, you could look it up on ChatGPT if you want. Or get a encyclopedia. Or just, I've got 2 sets of world books, encyclopedias. That's what I do on a Sunday night. I sit back and read my 1984 model world books. I do. Everybody thinks I'm crazy. Probably right. But
I think that's right. Travel. I think
it's a psychedelic experience.
About the arts before, how important creative arts are. And travel is right there with that as an experience for any individual. To travel. And I'm a pretty conservative sort of guy, I'd say. Not a huge risk taker around stuff, but you can't travel without taking a bit of risk. So it forces me into an area where I'm not that comfortable, and I love it.
And if you are travelling without risk, you're probably not really travelling.
No, you're not travelling. You've got to be in a place where you feel, I don't know where our next bed is, or I'm not quite sure whether I should eat that, or is this a safe place to be? And that's really, for me, that's really edgy and exciting. It makes my blood pump. I love it. It's very exciting.
Ange and I didn't go on our big trip until, so I would have been 30, she would have been 33, so it was a little bit later in her life, but it's still life-defining, For us, there's barely a week that goes past or a few days that go past without us recounting a story or having a conversation with someone that involves a story about our travelling. But it's also set an intention for our daughter too, because we had that travelling spirit. Then travelling was something that we encouraged in her. We travelled with her a couple of times when she was younger to Europe. She went off and did 10 weeks in Germany on her own when she was 16. Now she's travelled to Europe on her own for 4 months, and now she's been in South America for 9 months, travelling on her own, living, studying, and so on. And when we say to people, when people learn that about her, they're like, aren't you worried? Oh my God, she's a 23-year-old kid travelling on her own in South America. No, man, we're travellers ourselves. We understand that, there's risk involved, but there's risk in walking out on the fucking street.
Of course there is.
Scott, if she was sitting in a bedroom all day, every day, playing video games.
By online bloody predators and shit.
That's what you got to be worried about.
Yeah.
Being out there in the world. Hey, shit can happen.
She actually posted a really good thing on her story yesterday, and she goes, people say to me, isn't South America dangerous? And she's got all these photos of people dancing and all dance classes she's done. And she's like, dangerous, no, this is my South America. This is what I found South America to be. People just fucking dancing.
You might die of fun.
That's right.
I don't know if you've followed us on social media on YouTube. There's a bloke, John Ruth, that's been helping us out promoting our bike tours and that. He's a motorcycle journalist from back in the 90s. Kind of a big deal in the YouTube space. He's full drive, off-road, been on TV and stuff. And I've become really good friends with him over the years. Just had him on my own podcast back in 2018 or something, and he's always been a big supporter, and he comes on a few of my tours now, and we do podcasts along the way, and it's a bit rough and ready because we're on the road, but they're all on YouTube. Check them out. But I took him to Patagonia, so Chile and Argentina, and he could not believe South America. He was like, oh my God. He goes, because he's a real proponent for the Australian outback and full driving, and he's like, I think I've found somewhere better. Because I shouldn't say this on YouTube, but I think I've found somewhere better. That's it's amazing over there. Like I said, Argentina and Chile, I think, and it's an easy place to get to from Melbourne now. It's a direct flight to Santiago. It's not that expensive. It's in the other direction of the Middle East, so it's a safe bet.
A long way from the Middle East.
I think it's going to get over there before it really takes off. It's empty. It's Buenos Aires and Santiago obviously busy, but head out into the bush.
South,
It's just amazing. Their country towns are incredible. Everyone I visit, and we stay at a lot of them. I don't want to leave. I'll go to the pub, have a couple of beers, meet some locals. Geez, not that long ago, for January, I walked home with no shirt on. I had a Nevermind t-shirt on. It's got a motorbike.
Somebody wanted it.
One of the guys is a farmer. I couldn't speak any Spanish. I speak a bit of Spanish, but not enough to really fluently
conversation.
His English was terrible as well, but somehow he worked out he wanted me t-shirt. And I'd had half a dozen beers, and they got their beer there, the Kilmers, it's called.
Kilmers,
I love it. It's just mother's milk. It's a great drop. The locals don't. The farmers and that drink it, but your Buenos Airians don't drink it. They call it an industrial beer.
Oh, okay.
They think it's like VB, I think. But anyway, I had a few of them. They come in 1.5 litre bottles.
Fantastic.
So I just said, you goes, I like your shirt. He's pointing at all night. I just took it off. gave it to him, walked back to the hotel with no shirt on about 10 o'clock at night. He was wrapped, you know. So, but yeah, it's incredible. That was in Escal. It's sort of a Wild West frontier town down in Patagonia. You know, just agriculture and a bit of mining, and that's about it, you know. But beautiful place.
Yeah.
So. Matt, I know you said earlier, I think that your book's pretty full. You've got these 8 locations at the moment, but you mentioned before you spent time in Africa.
Yeah, there's a lot of time in Africa.
You've got to be thinking about something in Africa, surely, at some stage, because I've been there too, and I love South Africa, in terms of the animal stuff.
I'm pretty well connected in Namibia and Zambia and Tanzania. Got them ready to go. Again, it's I'm very conscious of, you know, like I don't want to go too big too quick.
No,
you know?
that's right.
If I had one trip here and there, and it's like I never, you know, like I've been there, and I've got a lot of our clients want to really, like, you kick something off in Africa, we're in. But, you know, just maybe next year.
Yeah, it's a matter of capacity, I guess.
I can recommend Malawi. I haven't been there for a very long time.
Yeah.
Probably one of the poorest countries, but the most beautiful people and most giving people. And then beautiful lake there.
Zambia used to be the poorest country in Africa, and now it's really taken off. You know, it's really safe. And, South Africa was the one that was sort of really booming back in the 90s. Yeah. You know, but now it's struggling, you know. So it's sort of, the landscape in Africa is constantly changing.
It's an incredible place, Africa. It's just so different to what we know here, and just so, like you said, it's always changing. There's always like something going on. There's always like revolutions and wars and all sorts of stuff going on. Economies are booming and busting, and you know, it's such a
thing people got to realise, and it's the same as anywhere in the world, that they're just people. Africans are beautiful people. You know, the majority of Africans, the majority of Indians, the majority of Aussies are just really nice people, just trying to live a good life. You know?
Honest.
There's bad bastards everywhere. Some, regardless of race or ethnic origin, like
politics.
There's bad. Well, that's right. You'll know where you'll find more of them if you go to certain places.
Or in corporate business.
They're thicker on the ground in some locations, more so than other. But I agree. Like generally, human beings are. You know, I have a view. You know, they're good people everywhere, and of course, there's odd people on the margins.
That's why we started this podcast, wasn't it? To promote that there's great, good blokes everywhere doing really good things and really with really interesting stories. And there's blokes out doing shit stuff, treating women badly, treating other people badly. But you know, there's so many blokes in our local communities doing good things, and that's why we wanted to highlight with this. You know.
Well, that's Matt was asking earlier about how we met, and then. What he didn't ask is why we're doing the podcast, but Scott sort of now told you that when Scott came off the back of his, small business journey, one of the things he missed from his brewing days was he used to do a podcast around beer when he was in the brewing industry, and he said to me one day, he said, I'm missing that a little bit. I think I wouldn't mind doing a podcast. Would you join me? I go, yeah. What's a podcast? Yeah, I'll have a crack. We'll do it. So, and one of the first things why I said I'd do it, or one of the things that interested me, she said, look, I just want to talk about some local things, local communities, local blokes, good blokes doing good things, just to push back a bit against some of this sort of toxic masculinity bullshit stuff. You know, and here we are now up to 46, is it? We've been doing this for a year.
46, and
nearly almost exclusively local people. We did a road trip to Bendigo and did some old mates up there on the way as well, but mostly people from around here. And we've had bloody stuntmen and writers and publishers and bloody artists. It's incredible in our own local community. There's a lot of good men doing really good stuff.
Podcasting's a real buzz. I've always loved it. I always feel great after doing one. I'm wrapped when you asked me to come on. Sort of inspired me to maybe pick up my own one.
Go on, you slack bastard. Get to do something.
I know. But I have an office in Torquay now, and I've had it for about a year, and I love Torquay. You know, like it's a lot of people go, oh, it's a fucking Torquay, you know, yuppies and all this, but there's a real entrepreneurial vibe around town. Like I worked from home for a long time, and you know, I was in construction for a while, and it was like. It's kind of it's exhausting, you know, and I'm in the Workers' Hut, which is a community of, it's a shared office. I've got my own office in there, it's a Nevermind office, which but we all get to know
there's
each
a lot
other.
of hot desking going
There's
on,
mortgage brokers.
Yep.
There's a guy who sells nuts. There's a guy that sells imports sporting equipment, all sorts of stuff. There's disability support workers. There's you name it. And shout out to those guys. It's Dave and Beck. They do a great job out there. But it's that ecosystem, and I really feel that I've thrived in that environment. Having other people to talk to, and I've become mates with a few of them.
I get that absolutely, because I'm working from home now, and it does get a bit lonely, not a bit isolating. You know what I mean? And because when you've got a lot of shit going on, you're trying to work out the answers to things. It is nice to have that, that environment. I used to do a fair bit of networking.
Yep.
So at least once a week or twice a week, I'd go off and I'd go to a networking group. And as much as trying to get new business, it was also about just having a conversation with other small business people doing similar things with similar problems to
sharing
you.
stuff,
and just breaking yourself out of that little bubble that you live and work in.
It's I'd recommend even do one day a week. Just hire a desk and just come down and try it
just
out.
Get out of the house.
I sort of stumbled across it by chance because my internet wasn't working out at Connewarra. It's really crap out there. I thought I need to go somewhere that's got internet. And ended up full time out there, and I love it. It's been fantastic. But I mean, even just to walk, we're just behind Rip Curl and all that. Just to walk along there, and I know we all know the story about Rip Curl, Quicksilver, Billabong, and you look at them and where they've come from and where they are, and I'm like, what, this is a cool place.
Not a bad town.
These all start in little tin sheds in someone's backyard, garage, or
just the same as what we're doing now. Just doing a little podcast in the back room, and having a couple of stubbies, and next minute you're bloody interviewing Joe Rogan. You
never know. Like I said, you never know. Cool.
So,
well, I'm really glad I ran into you the other day, and I'm no doubt we'll catch up for beers outside of the podcast since we're around the corner from each other. And really glad to have run into you and hear your story and see that you're doing well with Nevermind. I always thought it was a great thing you were doing, a great business model, and so I appreciate you popping in and saying good day.
No, thanks for having me. Love what you're doing, and I'll certainly be sharing the crap out of it when you get it up live, and hope to come back one day. And great to see you getting back on your feet, and I hope to see you getting something going again soon.
I'll probably get something going. That's not what it is yet.
I know
I haven't had that light bulb moment.
I know you'll get something going.
Let's get the band back together.
Yeah,
the Valhalla Nevermind band with the same logo, and we could be playing at Four Pines. You're
bad for each other.
I might be DJing at Four Pines. I hit them up for a bit of a DJ spot, so I've got my DJ gear there now.
I'll be there.
I'll let you know when I'm DJing.
Nice to meet you, Brian.
Yeah, you too,
I'm
Matt.
sure we'll catch up again soon.
Yeah.
Cheers,
Thanks,
mate.
guys. Bye.
Cheers.
I love you, baby, but you gotta understand when the Lord